16-year-old Autumn Lane McClure was a student of Mainland High School who was living with her grandmother in Ormond Beach, Florida. On May 10, 2004, Autumn's grandmother called the sheriff's office to report her missing after she did not return home that day. Autumn was last seen with her boyfriend. Police questioned her boyfriend, who told them that he had dropped Autumn off at the Volusia Mall and had not seen her since then. A search was launched for the missing teenager, but nothing turned up. Few days later, Autumn's grandmother told detectives that Autumn called her from a different area code and that she had received some letters from Autumn that was postmarked from Melbourne, Florida, claiming she was okay and would return home after she turned 18. The police still continued their search. They received information that Autumn was staying with a woman named Jessica Freeman and the woman's boyfriend, Brian Donnelly. When detectives questioned the couple, they said they knew Autumn from work at a grocery store. The couple admitted that the girl had stayed with them briefly while having trouble with her grandmother. They let her stay at the trailer for a couple of days, and they did not know anything else. With no further leads, the case went cold. In 2016, 12 years after Autumn's disappearance, detectives reopened the case and contacted the boyfriend again. This time her boyfriend claimed that he had lied to them about dropping Autumn at the Volusia Mall. He said he had actually dropped her off at the Seabreeze Bridge, where she then got into a car with Jessica Freeman. Detectives tracked down Freeman, who was now living in Nevada, and she claimed she did not know anything about Autumn's disappearance. The case remained cold until in 2021. Detectives caught a break when a tipster told police that Freeman and Donnelly were involved in Autumn's disappearance. The police questioned Freeman again, who this time asked for immunity in exchange for her answering questions about Autumn's disappearance. Freeman told detectives that she worked with Autumn, and she and Donnelly allowed her to stay with them at the trailer. She was also in a sexual relationship with the couple. Freeman told investigators that one day she returned home to see Donnelly allegedly choking Autumn in the bathroom. She was unable to save Autumn, and she left the trailer where the three lived. When she returned 2 weeks later and inquired about what had happened to Autumn, Donnelly allegedly told her to shut up or the same thing would happen to her. Over the years, Donnelly allegedly told Freeman multiple versions of what he did with the body. She said that she did not know exactly where Donnelly had buried her body. But in late 2023, Freeman told authorities that she believes Autumn's body was buried beneath the trailer, as Donnelly had allegedly expressed satisfaction at the fact new concrete had been placed on the site. Authorities searched the surface using ground-penetrating radar, and they found spots of different density than the surrounding soil. Subsequently, authorities worked with the new owner of a trailer on the property to excavate the remains. In February 2024, authorities recovered what they say 99.9% of Autumn's remains, which were taken to the medical examiner to confirm her identification. Despite her remains being found, Donnelly could not be charged as he died in 2022. Zachary Whitley was a long-term resident of Greenville County. He was known for his friendly nature and his dedication to his family. He worked as a pool installer and landscaper, striving to provide for his family, which included a son and a daughter. Charity Southerland was a beloved member of the Greenville community, remembered for her kind and generous spirit. Undeterred by becoming a mother at a young age, Charity was determined to create a better life for her child. She was dedicated to her family and was known for her infectious smile and caring nature. Both Zachary Whitley and Charity Southerland had no idea that their lives would be brutally cut short under eerily similar circumstances in the same house. On April 16, 2016, around 4 p.m., a dispute turned into a shooting at 220 Eastview Road. Inside the house, 31-year-old Zachary Whitley was caught in the crossfire and hit by a bullet in the chest. Despite his severe injury, adrenaline pushed him to try to escape. He stumbled out of the house, clutching his chest, but collapsed in the front yard before reaching his car. He died before help could arrive. Inside the house, the scene was equally grim. 3 of Zachary's friends were shot multiple times and left seriously injured. One was airlifted to Greenville Memorial Hospital, while the other 2 were taken by ambulance, all fighting for their lives. Witnesses gave descriptions of the suspects to the police, leading to the release of detailed information. The group included 3 males and a female getaway driver in a silver Toyota. The first suspect was described as a skinny black man in his early 20s, wearing jeans and a black cutoff t-shirt, about 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighing 120 to 130 pounds. The second suspect was a man with long blonde dreadlocks, wearing a bright Bob Marley jacket, about 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighing 160 to 170 pounds. The third suspect was a man dressed in white clothes, possibly with dreadlocks, about 6 feet 1 inch tall. The female getaway driver was described as heavy-set with short hair. Despite these detailed descriptions, no arrests were made right away, leaving both the police and the community desperate for justice. As Zachary's loved ones mourned, investigators worked to understand what happened. However, as time passed, the case grew cold and the leads dried up. Despite all efforts, the suspects seemed to have disappeared. Then, in 2022, a similar tragedy struck Greenville County. On April 2, 2022, another shooting happened at 220 Eastview Road, the same place where Zachary Whitley had been killed years earlier. Early that morning, 21-year-old Charity Southerland was fatally shot in her home. Her 3-year-old son was there, and Charity was found dead in her bedroom. The police worked hard to find out what happened and bring justice to Charity's family. This tragedy came only months after Charity's brother died in a car crash. But despite their efforts, the case stalled. On April 2, 2023, Charity's family and friends held a vigil at Herdklotz Park to bring attention to her case again. On February 16, 2024, the Greenville County Sheriff's Office announced significant breakthroughs in the 2 cold cases during a press conference. Sheriff Hobart Lewis revealed that the investigations unit had solved both slayings of Charity Southerland in 2022 and Zachary Whitley in 2016. First, the 2022 case saw new developments when the detectives identified 22-year-old Charles Russell Reams as the suspect in Charity Southerland's crime. Although Reams, the father of her child, had been a person of interest from the beginning, initial evidence was insufficient for charges. Charity's demise was following what was believed to be an ongoing domestic-related issue inside her home. In January 2023, Reams was arrested on unrelated assault charges. He kidnapped a woman and hit her in the face with a gun, causing bruising, swelling, and a busted lip. He also attempted to strangle the victim. The investigators could then link DNA evidence and witness testimony to Reams. This led to warrants for his immediate arrest in January 2024 on charges in connection to Charity's fatal slaying and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. Reams remains in custody at the Floyd County Detention Center in Georgia without bond, pending extradition. In the 2016 case, the slaying of Zachary Whitley was attributed to 34-year-old John Wesley Nix. Authorities identified it as an illegal substance-related deal gone bad. Nix went to the home on Eastview Road to sell illegal substances and ultimately shot 4 people. DNA evidence at the scene proved that Nix was the shooter. He was arrested Nix at his job on Wade Hampton Boulevard and was charged with assault and battery, attempted robbery, possession of a weapon during a violent crime, and criminal conspiracy. He is currently in the Greenville County Detention Center without bond. Police are still working to identify 2 other suspects involved in the incident. The recent breakthroughs in the cases of Charity Southerland and Zachary Whitley bring much-needed closure to their families after years of uncertainty and grief. The Southerland family is working to obtain full custody of Charity's son Raheem following his father's arrest. In May 1974, Connecticut State Police received a tip about 2 murders that had occurred at a home on Shoeville Road, Ledyard, Connecticut. Investigators searched the house and the surrounding area. They soon found decomposed bodies of a man and a woman in two shallow graves several hundred feet behind the house. The man would later be identified as convicted serial bank robber Gustavus Lee Carmichael, who had escaped from custody. He had committed multiple bank robberies across the nation, and in 1970, he was apprehended for the theft of $60,000 from a bank in New Jersey. Additionally, throughout his lifetime, he had faced convictions for various offenses, such as burglary, kidnapping, attempted burglary, grand larceny, assault and battery, and armed robbery. However, in October 1970, during his transfer from a Massachusetts jail to federal court in Hartford, Connecticut, he and another inmate managed to escape custody, prompting the FBI to issue a federal warrant for his arrest. While on the run, he met the woman and they began to go by the names Dirk and Lorraine Stahl. They were staying at the home of Richard DeFreitas and Donald Brandt, fellow bank robbers. DeFreitas and Brandt possessed several safe houses utilized to harbor fugitives evading law enforcement. Nonetheless, the woman, Lorraine Stahl, confided in DeFreitas' wife that she was afraid of the lifestyle they were leading. When DeFreitas learned about her fears, he told Brandt and they decided to eliminate Carmichael and the woman, fearing that her potential capture could lead to exposure of their illicit operations. Given the perceived difficulty of eliminating the woman without Carmichael's likely intervention, they opted to murder Carmichael as well. Investigators believed Carmichael and the woman were killed on December 31, 1970, 4 years earlier. DeFreitas and Brandt fatally shot Carmichael and the woman, then dumped their bodies, which remained undiscovered for more than 3 years. Richard DeFreitas and Donald Brandt were eventually convicted of the murders and have since died. Even though the man was identified, the woman was never identified, as she had used an alias that was never verified. Before going by the name Lorraine Stahl, she was known to use the names Ikonij and Isandij, and was known to drive around in a 1964 green Oldsmobile with either Massachusetts or Maine plates. This car was eventually found dumped in Hartford with a Maine inspection sticker on the license plate. She was known to have possibly worked in New York City. After the bodies were discovered, police found clothes and jewelry with the woman's remains, including a tan leather wet look vest, a gold or tan sweater, a brown tweed skirt, and a pair of brown granny boots. She also was wearing a pendant and rings, according to state police. A class ring had the letters JHSN monogrammed, the initials ILN, and the date 1917 engraved inside. Lorraine Stahl would go unidentified for 50 years. Her case profile was entered into the National Missing and Unidentified Person System in 2011 and CODIS in 2012, but she remained unidentified. Then in 2022, DNA samples were sent to Othram Labs, who were able to build a DNA profile of the victim. In January 2024, the results helped find a connection with the victim's sister. They also found out that the victim had a daughter who provided DNA sample, and soon, Lorraine Stahl was identified as Linda Sue Childers. Childers was born September 4, 1946, and was originally from Louisville, Kentucky. Her sister and daughter were notified of her identification. The case was finally solved after more than 50 years. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to our channel. If you have any thoughts, theories, or cases you'd like us to cover, let us know in the comments. Until next time, stay safe.